Hey, welcome to my channel, Crafting with Cami. Today is the third Friday of the month, meaning it is time for our collaboration using the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 book. Myself, along with some other crafters, are working our way through this book, and we are on pattern 12. So I have actually already done this pattern a while ago. I did, was it Christmas? I can't remember what photos I did, but I had played with this already, so that's super fun. I really like this layout. I love the banners and all the different papers we get to include. So this calls for 3 photos. I do have 3 photos, but they're different sizes. So instead of the 5x7, I have a 4x4. So that's going to be my focal photo. And then instead of a 4x6, I have 2 3x4s, and then for the 3x4 vertical, I have horizontal, I have a vertical. So we are going to try to make these work. I'm not sure how exactly my layout is going to come together. I'll tell you more about these photos in a moment. Let's go ahead and clear this up and get started. As you saw, the photos are my husband working on his truck, and I am wanting to bring in the Country Woods papers from Stampin' Up. These are so nice. I love the wood grains, and there's so many colors and shades and wood grains. You've seen me use this before, so I'm pulling it back in. I absolutely love it. It is available on my website, so if you love it too, I will have that linked in the description box below. Another item I'm wanting to use is the Trusty Tools stamp set from Stampin' Up. So it has some different tools, but the die cuts are what I'm really interested in. So they have some nuts and bolts, and there's apparently I have an extra magnet in there. Yeah, the wrenches. So I'm wanting to bring these in as well. My husband is working on the vehicle, so those will be super nice. This is a double page layout, so I am bringing in 2 Versamats. Now these are close to my heart items. They're close to my heart branded. So they are no longer available, but I love working on this. It helps me keep everything in frame for you, and I get everything lined up the way I want it. It has all the measurements. I know that Stampin' Up! Has a glass mat. I'll have that linked in the description box, and that's similar. It has the measurements for you, but it's actually a glass surface, so it's easy to clean up if you want to do a lot of stamping and whatnot. And it comes with like a silicone mat to help hold your stamp set and your stamp pad. So if you wanted to get some Versamats but couldn't, I'll have that glass mat linked down below, that glass surface. I have not tried it out. I can't speak for it, but I think it would be pretty similar to the measurements on the Versamats. Since I'll be bringing in a lot of pattern papers for those strips going across, I am going to start on some white daisy cardstock. This is still close to my heart, white cardstock, but you can get the white cardstock from Stampin' Up, which again is linked in the description box. These are the papers I pulled. So this one, I liked the grays. It kind of goes with that wooden truck bed. And then this one, I thought it kind of brought in the yellow. I'll talk more about that truck in a little bit here. This one, I thought it pulled in the browns on this little wheel well thing and fender. I don't know what that is. And my dog, it makes her pop, and the rust. And then it might be nice to just bring in some darker tones since I have quite a few lighter ones. And then as backup, I pulled in this one. I think the grays look good too, but I almost like this one better. And then that lets this one stand out more. I think these two might end up competing since they both have some of those yellow tones and the lighter grays. So I think these two might complement each other better than bringing this one in. It's probably hard to tell, but the sketch did call for a border. It's just a 1/4 inch border going around. And they actually had the border going down the center as well. But I wanted my double page layout to look like one continuous 24-inch layout. So I changed the size of my white cardstock. So instead of doing 11.5 squared, I did 11.5 by 11 3/4. And that allowed me to go all the way to the edge. It's probably hard to see. I did use charcoal paper. So I have charcoal as my background, and I did gut that. I cut out the center, and then I put my white daisy over the top of that. I pulled this paper from Close to My Heart's Mix In November, December, and there's charcoal stripes. So I kind of thought, or kind of like a plaid grid style, that could be the tall piece that goes right about there. Otherwise, the back side is polka dots, and I feel like it's neutral enough, that's plain enough that it doesn't take away or clash with all of my wood grain. So I'm thinking of using one of those. I'll cut them down to size and then we'll play around with them. I chose to go with this more plaid kind of pattern, and I have everything laid out according to the sketch. And I actually cut these pieces apart so that I could save all the paper that's hidden back behind. So I went through and kind of did the math, how much was going to be hidden, and cut my paper accordingly. So that's how they have that. And then they have a couple banners coming out right over here. And I may or may not include that once I start my embellishing. I'm not sure if I want that over there yet. So let's go ahead and get our base adhered, and then I will get these matted on white, and then we'll talk photo mats. All of this is adhered, and then I matted my photos on white cardstock, just a little white frame going around them. And I decided to take this photo out. It's very similar to this larger one, so I'm just going to use this one. Now I'm back to the 3 photos that the layout calls for. They are slightly different sizes though. So it does call for the 4x6 photo to be over here. So I am going to line up these photos here. And actually I think I can cut that down a little bit more. So my photo, it doesn't take into consideration photo mats, but you know me, I have to mat my photos. So I actually think instead of this being 4.5, I'm going to do 4.25. There we go. Now you can see more of that white pattern paper behind, and these still go on here nicely. Okay, this one is matted on charcoal. These 2 will be matted on that charcoal. The cutting guide even tells you what size to make your banners. So I just cut the rectangles to the right size, and then I cut up from the center. So these are 1 inch wide, so I cut up at a 1/2 inch, and then I go in from the corner over to the end of my cut. And I did one, and then I copied it so that I knew how deep to make each cut so that they were the same size, same angle of banner. Super easy. So I'm just going through, and it calls for 5 banners, so I just did 5 using the same wood grain paper. And I did that spotted paper too. If you didn't notice, I added that spotted paper up top. It did have that in one of the examples, so I liked that idea, and it allowed me to bring in spots for the banner. And I might actually bring some over here too, because it calls for that banner, but I'm not quite sure what I'm doing over there yet. I am going to bring in my charcoal ink. I inked around all of these papers, so I'm going to ink around the banners too. So a little bit about my photos here. This pickup's name is Putt Putt. My husband had him long before I came along even, so he's been in the family for quite a while. Even when we tried to sell him at one point, the sale fell through, and here we are several years later, still with Putt Putt. This pickup is not much to look at, but let me tell you, he is reliable. I always joke that if none of our vehicles will start, you can rely on Putt Putt. He is a beast. He will get you where you need to be. My husband's completely restored the engine, and he's always just tinkering with Putt Putt. There could be nothing wrong with this pickup, and he's he just likes to play around with it and tinker with it. So yeah, those pictures on the right are just photos of him working on the engine, and he literally gets in the hood. And then here we were headed out for a walk, and these two sat down on putt-putt. My husband also built this bed here, so it was just a frame. It didn't have any truck bed on it. And then these fenders are fiberglass, and he painted those to look like wood grain. So it is a very mismatched truck. We call it our rotten banana. It has some gray on the hood, and then yellow and rust, and then the gray bed with the brown fenders. It's definitely an eyesore, you guys, but it's our putt-putt. We are getting closer to trying to sell putt-putt again, so I am thankful that I have these photos and we can remember it, and I can do some journaling about putt-putt, and it's just fun. So, I mean, if we don't have putt-putt, it'll always be another truck. My husband enjoys working on vehicles, so older vehicles, I should say. When something's wrong with my newer car, he doesn't like to fix that so much, but he likes to play with these old vehicles, so there's always going to be another one. It shows the banner going from corner here, like that, and like that. So I kind of am liking that. I almost want to switch this one out for this color. I'm liking how this one looks better. So if we add another one there, and then maybe switch these two around. I think I like that better. It looks a little more balanced, so I'm gonna recut this one. I was just looking through my dots to see what I could finish my banner with, and I found this color, which kind of goes along with these, but all I have left are stars and hearts. And they're different sizes, and I'd have to use some of the small ones too, and I just don't think I like that. These ones are glitter. They're the right size, but they're glitter gems, and I don't think glitter would go good with my husband and putt-putt. I just don't think putt-putt and glitter go together. You guys, do you have any vehicles like this? Does your husband work on vehicles? Because it's his fun mechanic pickup. He likes to do all the mechanic work on it. Okay, I found wood grain stars. I think stars might go good to hold my banner up. I mean, putt-putt is a star, right? He's the star of these photos, at least. I like that. I like that. And then I can bring the wood grain in through arrows, too, in my embellishment clusters. Okay, now I know I want the star to overlap, so now I know how close I need to get it. So I think we'll start with this one here. I like to do the two outside ones first so that I can get my swoop right. There. I think those angles are good. Now I'll go ahead and adhere that center one, and then I can evenly space out the other two. So we'll add that one down, and then we'll go ahead and start placing the stars to hold that banner. So I'm using some reverse tweezers and my Barely Art glue. I like the precision tip on this glue. So I'm just adding a little tiny dots and then placing those stars. I do find it easier to add the glue to the paper, so then I'm just grabbing my wax pencil here, my little pickup tool, and placing those stars right onto those dots of glue. Since my photo is shorter than the other one, they show it coming down this far, but we'll go ahead and raise my photo up, and then the cluster will be up a little bit higher. They show the cluster down here, but I'll just raise that up since I am raising my photo. I'm bringing in my Spotlight on Nature dies from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to use the ones with those little tick marks going around them. These are going to help house my embellishment clusters. So in the layout, or in the instructions, it has one cluster here and then one cluster right about here. So I think I'll cut these out so that I can kind of, these are where my clusters go, and then I can start building those out. Look at how fun these circles are. I love those little tick marks going around. So I did do that on the dotted paper. I wanted to bring some of the paper over to this side. And I actually think I'll do the smaller one there and the larger one down here. I cut out a few of the die cuts. So here's a wrench. I kind of feel like that looks silly. And then, oh, I forgot to cut out the pliers. These are pliers. And then a whole bunch of the nuts and bolts. I used Stampin' Up's silver foil paper for these. I'll have that linked as well. But I am going to piece together my pliers here. So these go like this, and then my pliers go right in there, and then it overlaps like that. Okay, so we need a little bit of glue down here. I love piecing these together. It's like a little puzzle to me. Allow that one to dry. Oh, wrong side. I'm losing my mind. No, it's not. That is the right side. Hello. Oh my gosh. And then a little bit of glue on the circle part here. And that goes right here. Isn't that so cute? My title is supposed to go over here. And I've been thinking a lot about what I want my title to be. Let me go make it. Using the simple serif die cuts, I created my title. So that's where they show to have the title in the sketch. I have a ton of open space up here, and they do too in the sketch. They have some splattering going on, some stamping, and then they have their journaling down here. So I will journal. I will do my journaling here. I'll probably type it out and print that there. I don't know how much splatter I want here. I could bring in maybe some toffee to bring in some more of these embellishments, and maybe do a little bit and then a little bit behind the title over here. But I also considered moving my title over, but the yellow gets a little lost on the white. I prefer it on the wood grain. It sticks out a little bit more. Let's bring Legend over. Plus, there's just something about the title being on the left. I just like the title on the left. Plus, I do think it kind of fills in this area. So let's grab some toffee ink. I think that would tie in these wood grain elements good. And then maybe some splatter stamps so that it's a little more controlled. Here's my splatter stamp. So I have this larger one and then this smaller one from the Perfectly Imperfect. And then I have this wood grain one or this crackle one. I kind of like that crackle too. Let me lay down the crackle and see what that would look like. Unfortunately, my embellishments are already adhered, so I don't know how I'm gonna get the stamp to go kind of behind it. I might be able to lift these pieces up. Oh. And then kind of stamp like that. I don't know. Because I'd kind of want it to peek out. I could also do some masking and stamp right over the top of it. Just trying to see what it would look like. So if I stamp over here and then have legend over it, I'm kind of leaning towards the splatters. I think the splatters are a safer choice today. We'll use that crackle one another time. So I am going to bring in both of these stamps. I think they go nicely together, so I can do some of a mixture. I can get into these tight spots with this small one, but then kind of bring it out and spread with that larger one. This is my go-to scratch paper that has all of my test stamping and stamping off on it. So I'm going to put this here, and then actually I'm gonna rip it down the middle here so I can use the other half to go up along this. And then we can have our splatters coming out. So I have my toffee ink. I'm gonna use this big one first. Make sure that this is covering up perfectly because I don't want it to look like I masked it off. And let's have it come that. And then I'm gonna come back in with that smaller one and kind of go up here, and up here. I got my title adhered and it made me want to bring some more yellow over to this side. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. So I am going to add those banners down here that it called for in the sketch. So I'm just going to adhere some of these. I did one in charcoal, one in that honey butter that matches the title, and then a polka dot one. And if the sketch tells me how big to make these, I didn't pay any attention to it. I decided just to go off on my own and do whatever sizes made me happy. So I kind of think the charcoal one on the bottom, and then something like tell my story and stick it here. I've been obsessed with using the Avery clear shipping labels. Thank you, Erin. So I'll type it and stick it here on the Avery shipping labels. Let me bring that sketch back in. Here is the example layouts. And here is what I created. I think it turned out pretty close to the actual layout. I just have fewer photos over, or smaller photos over here. So technically that should bump down a little bit more, and this size photo is different. But I think I love it. Be sure to check out the playlist at the end of this video. This video is a collaboration with some of my crafty friends, and they're going to take this same sketch and make it their own. So be sure to check those out down below to see how they interpreted the sketch. If you came over from one of their channels, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here at Crafting with Cami. I love this picture. Don't tell him I put it on the internet, okay? He watches these, he knows. I never show you or read you my journaling, so I thought you'd like to see it this time. So here's the layout complete with my journaling over on this side where it shows, and I did use the Avery clear shipping labels. So it says June 2024, Putt Putt the legend. Putt Putt is our rotten banana, the eyesore in our driveway for all the neighbors to see. Colin has had this pickup forever. When we tried to sell it, the sale fell through, and here we are, several years later with Putt Putt. He has always been our reliable vehicle. If no vehicle would start, you could count on Putt Putt. Colin built a wooden bed on him so we could haul some stuff along with the fiberglass fenders that are wood grain painted. This mismatched truck is a beast. Colin has restored the engine and loves to tinker with it. Putt Putt doesn't get driven as often as he should, but if we do decide to finally sell him, his legend will live on. I don't know how we'll ever tell anyone which house is ours if we sell Putt Putt. You can't miss it. It's the one with the yellow truck in the driveway. Oh, Putt Putt, you'll forever be in our hearts. All right, thank you for watching, guys. Until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye.